Hey guys, welcome back to RAC, where we talk all things audio production and sound. Today we're going to talk about 3 common producer mistakes and how to fix them, plus some extra pro tips, taking you from an average producer to a complete beast in the studio. I'm Diana Everett. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and RAC grad. Let's get into it. Muddy sound. What is muddy? In audio land, we use this word to describe the low to mid-low frequency of 250 hertz that kind of just ruins sounds and is the bane of mixes in general. It can range from roughly 180 hertz to about 350 hertz, but really it sits at its muddiest at around 250 hertz. This frequency overloaded in one sound can interfere with an entire mix and cause so many problems. Because it's in the low/mid-low frequencies, it can really easily build up. And if we're not careful about our low-end management, it can really be what makes a mix stink. Let's take a listen to a muddy sound. This can happen to anyone on any sound source. Maybe you mic'd it a bit too close. Maybe the tone on your guitar pedal was way off. Maybe you're using an old synth that just isn't what it used to be. Regardless of the sound source, having something that sounds and feels muddy just isn't a good look. So, how do you fix it? One of the most obvious and main ways to fix this is by finding your main problem sound and then targeting that frequency band with subtractive EQ. Have a good listen here. See, it's actually quite an easy fix, and it'll make your sound much more expensive and polished. So I have a pro tip for you. I particularly like dynamic EQs for this, as they are more reactive to the volume level of the given frequency, and it lets you set almost a target for how much subtraction you really want to do. Problem number 2, boring guitar. Because guitar is one of the most common instruments used to write songs, it's become the base of so many demos and finished songs. We have heard guitar a billion times. It is such a stock staple that unless you are really good, or you have written a super catchy underlick or hooky guitar line, it's hard to really have it be convincing. One of the things that can happen is that certain guitar parts, if they're really simple or they're not recorded like amazing quality, unfortunately they can just come off sounding really boring and often will make the song suffer in return. Let's take a listen to what a boring guitar might sound like, played by yours truly. I am by no means an instrumentalist at all. However, I do often use guitar for songwriting. And since I can't play very well, I use a tried and trusted trick that always makes my guitar parts sound really a lot less like crap. It's super simple. I literally just record a double. That's it. But it's super effective. Take a listen. Obviously, there's all the processing you can do afterwards, but just by doubling the parts, it saves a not great performance and makes it feel intentional, and in my books, sounds pretty cool. This also works for any type of live instrument you perform. So here's a pro tip. If you want this to sound even cooler, try panning each take left and right. So I usually place them between 15 and 20 degrees either side. However, this also just depends on the song, what else I have in the production, as well as the time-based effects like reverb and delay I will be putting on. So problem number 3 is you have digital sounding virtual instruments. So being a music producer these days, likelihood is you're doing most of your processing and production in the box, which means that you're just doing everything inside of your computer, all of your processing in your DAW, and not using outboard gear. The problem with this is that the digital world is kind of missing the magic of the 70s. Those creamy, yummy, warm tones and harmonics that you get by running sound through electrical components, tubes, and tapes. There is to me what feels like a warm human element that's missing from digital production today. So what is it about virtual instruments that is sonically missing? Keyword here is saturation. On this channel, we've done a whole video on saturation, which I will link below. So feel free to click on it if you want a more in-depth dive into saturation and its different types. But mainly, what you have to remember is that saturation has to do with harmonics. Simply put, harmonics are the integral or whole multiple of a fundamental frequency, which is basically the base frequency of your sound. Let's take a listen to a very digital sound. Nowadays, they have so many incredible saturation plugins. Let's try it out on that sound. It makes it sound so much more rich in tone and quality. Definitely necessary for VIs or virtual instruments for me. So here's a pro tip. If you want to have something even more wild to try, do what is called reamping. It's when you run your sound through an amp to get that extra tone and crunchiness. You can do this with hardware if you have an amp and a reamper. It takes your line level signal and turns it into instrument level, so it can go back into your amp. Then you just mic your amp and record it back into your session. That being said, there are amps and pedal boards inside of your DAW that also work great. Stay tuned for an upcoming video as we will get wild and go through the process of reamping both analog and digitally. I hope this video helps with some common mistakes and how you can fix them like a pro. If you like this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We come up with new content every week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.